Hi, this is Math 1350, and this video is over section 7.5, which is going to be on systems of inequalities. We're going to look at, inequalities where you have less than or greater than or less than equal or greater than equal signs, and we'll have multiple inequalities. And the way we do this is for the first one, we're going to sketch the graph. The line is dotted if it's less than or greater than, and if it's less than or equal or greater than or equal, it's a dashed line, and the region around the regions as solution will also be included there. Then we're going to pick a test point. That's one way of doing it, or we can look at the regions where it's greater than. That's another way of doing it. And what we're trying to do is find where it makes both inequalities true, right? And so first, for the first one, x minus 3y minus 6 less than or equal to 0, and y plus x squared plus 2x greater than or equal to 2. I'm going to adjust the second one. So it's y plus x squared plus 2x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. It's a little bit easier to tell when you have it say equal to 0. Alright, so we're going to go into Desmos and graph these. So I have the equations in here. So we're going to try on the first one. Actually, before we do that, I want to do it this way. So this first graph, we'll just put equal sign. Okay. We have just a line, okay? And so if points on this line are included, then we'll make the line solid. If they're not included, then we'll make it a dash. And since it's a less than or equal sign, you're going to see this line is going to be a solid line. Right. So now if we put in the region, see everything above this line is part of the solution. Right. And so take, for instance, 0.00. If we plug in 0, into our equation, and just our first equation, we'll get 0 minus 3 times 0 minus 6, which is less than 0. So minus 6 is less than 0, and that's true. All right. And so that 0.00 is part of the solution within just that first inequality. We can also take the 0.60, and we would have 6 minus 0 minus 6, which is 0, and 0 is equal to 0. So this point here, 60, will also be part of the solution. If we were to take negative 4, 0, negative 4, for instance. So let me go back to the screen. 0, negative 4, so x is 0, minus 3 times negative 4 minus 6. We'll get 12 minus 6, which is 6, and 6 is not less than 0. Okay, so that is not a solution. Okay, and that's just with one inequality. Okay, so now let's add in the second inequality. All right, and so take away the line. Turn this on. Okay, so here's the second inequality. All right, and so in regions like negative 4, 0, or 6, 0, or 2, 4, we can see that both the red and the blue overlap, whereas we only have red in the central region, and we only have blue over here in like maybe 10, negative 4, right? And so I'll give you a couple of points. So for instance, go with 0, 0 again. 0, 0. That point is only in the red. Only satisfies the red inequality. Point 0, 4. That point only satisfies both the red and the blue inequality. Okay. Point 10, 0, which is over here, satisfies only the blue inequality. Right, and you can check these. So you put in 10, 0 into the blue one, you'll get 100 plus 20 minus 2 is 118, plus 0 is 118, and 118 is greater than 0. Okay. However, you put in 10, 0 in the other inequality, you have 10 minus 6, which is not less than 0. All right. So the region where your inequality or your system has a solution is everywhere where it overlaps. So I'm drawing it now, sketching it out. So it is everywhere where this green region is, as well as along the lines here. Those will satisfy, any points within this region will satisfy both inequalities. So a company produces two types of products, product A and product B. The company has 100 hours of machine time available each week. Product A requires 2 hours of machine time per unit. Product B requires 3 hours of machine time per unit. Additionally, the company's storage space can only handle up to 50 units in total. Product A requires 1 unit of storage space. Product B requires 2 units of storage space. Let X represent the number of units of A and Y represent the number of units of B. Formulate a system of inequalities to model these constraints and determine the feasible number of units product A and B can be produced by graphing the inequality. Alright, so first, company has 100 hours of machine time. So product A, which we'll do X, requires 2 hours, so 2 times X. Product B requires 3 hours, so 3 times Y. And it has to be less than or equal to 100. And then storage space can hold up to 50. So product A requires 1 unit storage space, so that's just X. Product B requires 2 units, so 2Y, less than or equal to 50. Alright, so let's graph this. And so both of these are going to be lines, right? We can solve each one of these for Y in a sense. So 2Y less than or equal to 50 minus X. So Y is less than or equal to 25 minus 1/2 X. Right. So we can find, and this is for the second one. And then the other one would be 3y is less than or equal to 100 minus 2x. y is less than or equal to 33.3 minus 2/3 x. And so if we're graphing this, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and 5. And here we'll graph this also that same way: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, go a little bit farther out, 50. Alright, so if, for instance, x is 50 in this first equation, y is going to be 0. I'll do this in blue. And then if x is 0, y is going to be 25. So that's the first one. Anything less than that is everything in this region. Then we do the next one. If x is 0, y is 33.3. I'm doing red. So about there. Now let's get if x is 30, let's try 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. So you get about 13. It's about here. Actually, so about 13.33, so that's 1 point. If you do 50, you actually find out that it's also 0. Right. So this line goes this way. Okay. Anything below that is also its solution, so it's going to be everything here as well, and up to that blue line. Alright, so that's how we look at these inequalities. System of equalities graphing is the best way to go about. You end up with regions where you can have multiple solutions. So for instance, 0, 0 will satisfy both inequalities. You know, not doing anything, but it will satisfy both inequalities. If, for instance, you try to do 30 and 0, so 30 for one, 0 for the other, it's going to only satisfy one and not the other. So you'll have, 2 times 30 is 60, but 30 will be on the y. So 2 times 0 is 0, 3 times 30 is 90. You're still less than 100, but on the other side, 0 plus 60, you're greater than 50. Right, and so we get regions of points here, and the best way to show the answer is by graphing. Alright, that is it for chapter 7, and go look on the Math 1350 final.